All right.
Yeah, Sam, how you doing today?
I've been run off my butt as usual and just trying to get ahead of things and still getting some roadblocks here and there, but moving ahead, doing all right. Lots of stuff going on in cryptos, even though it's August.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and take a look at a few things. I know we had a pretty big drop over the last week, so maybe we should take a look at that and take a look at total maybe to get started. I think the last time we were talking, let me just share my screen here. I think last time we were talking, I showed some people, I think I did this, might have been last Thursday, but I was showing this channel here that if we broke down out of this channel, it'd probably be bad. And it was, but all things relative, ETH went from whatever, just under 1800 down to, I think the lowest wick down I saw was 15 something. Now, other people said that they saw 1400, but I didn't see it go that low, but I'll take the word for it. And then if we take a look at Bitcoin, we'll just kind of see where that's at. Pretty much the same deal here as it dropped out of that channel. They really look a lot alike. So anyway, this is hanging out around the 26,000 mark. I'm pretty excited about the market. There's lots of things going on. I've been talking a lot about payment systems, and payment systems are just continuing to just hum right along. Oh, well, this was kind of cool this week that USDC stable is now available on 15 different chains. So this is a big deal. They added, 6 more. So this is pretty cool. So Polygon, Base, Polka, Dot, Near, Optimism, Cosmos. And of course, it's been on Avalanche, Ethereum, Arbitrum, Stellar, Algorand, Tron, Flow, Solana, and Hedera for a minute. But yeah, it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger. And then I kind of wanted to show the Solana Pay, which is really slick, and it's integrated now with, I don't know if I have this article up here, but anyway, it's integrated now with Shopify. So that's huge. Once again, I just think these payment systems are kind of telling the story about adoption and the future of cryptos and just their usage. So, I'm just really, really excited. Very, very cool.
Yeah, especially the Solana Pay. I mentioned the other week that probably one of the biggest advantages for me with the pullback that we have had in the markets the last 2 years has been my opportunity to have Solana in my stable. I missed it last time, and I did follow my own rules, and I did not. I pretty much collected it the whole time, So like anything
Mhm.
around, like it went down to $8, so like between $8 and $40, and then when it runs again to $400, wow, that's gonna do for you. It makes a huge difference too if you got it on the down low at 8. Not a lot of folks had already dollar cost average in all of their money. And I know that that isn't, it's really annoying for people. But when you get those pullbacks before you have, remember that some of those people who dumped dollars, who turned it into 65,000 in the run of a month or two, I mean, they're going to be telling all their friends about it, and they're going to be telling their investment guy, and people are just going to become more interested because a few years ago, people called Bitcoin rat poison. And
Yeah.
there was even, the guy who does the geopolitical stuff that I actually saw something the other day. Someone was talking to him about bricks, and he's saying the same thing that I'm saying, right? You know, because they were like, well, what if everybody adopted the same, currency just for the, and he goes, oh yeah, it kind of sounds like the US dollar, right? It's like, yeah, it's not going to be replaced. So people were talking about bricks, and I
Hmm.
think some people got the impression that gold would go on some kind of huge run because of bricks. That was the. I got, so I didn't feel any of that um, was going to happen. So I hope people aren't too disappointed about sort of the gold and silver not running yet. Um,
Silver's
so
actually had a wonderful week. It really took off this week. But yeah, yeah. I sometimes don't know what people's expectations are. We've always talked about how we view those things as real money, and gold and silver being something completely different than a stock or a cash flow business or cryptos. But
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of folks were looking at, if with all of the upheaval going on in the world, that they may do better with their gold and their silver. Um, but, I think that that's something that will only come to certain areas of the world, as things begin roll up for those areas of the world.
Yeah,
That's where timing wise you're going to have people who are like, oh, I need to have some gold on hand, like physical gold. That's really great if you're in Turkey, for example.
exactly. Right.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
Argentina, or
Right.
yeah, because it's all times highs there,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's kind of what it's for. It's kind of like for insurance,
Yeah.
for the worst case scenario. This is total. So I think last week we were at what, 1.06, I think. And anyway, today we're at 1.03. So, well, Sam, if you're ready, let's go ahead and just jump into the questions and see what
Okay.
awaits us. Okay. Hi, Sam. Do you see ADA going to 5 or 10 US dollars in the next run?
No, I see it at to run back to its all-time high, which would be, I think it was like almost
$3 or so.
$3. Yeah,
Yeah.
$3.
And then the second part here is, will that reach 50 cents or $1 in its next run?
Um, well, I felt like we would see the 25 cents again, the opportunity that people had to jump off at 25 cents before if you had bought it at, well, I mean, most of us, we didn't even pay half a penny for it. So, we were already 50 times or more at 25 cents. So I think that there'll be some profit taking at that level for folks within the next year. I do feel like VeChain is something we're going to be hearing a lot more about. I do feel like it is something that there's a lot of work being done, but because it's not really on this side of the globe as much, that we don't hear as much in a lot of those English language Bitcoin write ups as far as what's actually going on with VeChain.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that. Tim's got one here. Hey, Sam, they are saying the XRP appeal won't be heard until July of 2024. May I ask, what does this mean for price in the meantime?
Oh, the XRP is going to lead the market as far as um, the regulation and clearance. And remember that it's in appeal, right? So that doesn't mean, like, most times when people appeal, it's not heard, they don't win. Anybody can appeal, right? It seems like everybody appeals nowadays. It's like, what is the judge not? Is this the decisions? Are they no good now? Um, I do feel like they will probably drop that appeal, especially after Gary Gensler, I don't know, resigns, is told to leave, is interviewed for jail, any of those above. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with the Securities and Exchange Commission. I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about XRP at all, and I'm surprised that um, I'm surprised that they just didn't even throw the appeal wasn't thrown out. But I guess they got to give it some airtime. But I'm not worried about it at all. I don't think anything's going to come of it. I don't think it's going to hold back the market. I think the fact that anybody who holds XRP who didn't buy it in the ICO now knows that it's not a security and there's some clarity there. That does make a difference, and it's going to help when the big boys arrive in the fall, I'm thinking.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that. Neo Knight's got one here. And I think he would like an extended blab a little bit just about the state of the markets. Hello, Sam and Moo. I would like an overall blab for the crypto market over the next 60 to 90 days. Thanks.
Okay. So the overall blab is that this is, again, another head fake where people are thinking that it's bears when it's actually bulls. I do feel like they are going to, just overall across the economies of the world, that they are going to print. I've been recalling the blab from a number of months ago when I said, watch Japan. And we saw what Japan did last week. And it's pretty clear they are going to print. They're going to print like nobody's business. They're going to print to save themselves, save their government, try to save their people. And what that means is that everybody else has got to print. The UK is going to print. Europe's in a tremendous amount of trouble. I mean, I don't even know how much to convey. I don't know how to convey that to people whenever I'm up there wandering around the ethos. Europe, like if you're in Europe, if you can figure out a way to get out, you know, that's all I can convey to people is what I see coming there. So these things are going to affect the crypto market because when people are trying to get out and get away and establish themselves, they have to move a large sum of money. And the banks are not looking very trustworthy. They're saying there's another 11 banks And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? When I sell that place and I got to buy another place down, where am I going to put that money? Well, it's going in Ethereum. I'm not putting it in a bank. That's a lot of money to just put it in a bank. And then they just go, "Oh, sorry. We took it." Or
Right.
it's not there because I'm like, no, that's part of what I'm going to live off of for the rest of my life,
Right.
you know. But see, it seems like they want us all to have nothing.
Yeah, corralled and cornered and yeah,
Yeah.
limited options. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really sad.
Yeah, well, it's not gonna work out for them, not at all. Like, they live in this it's kinda crazy, they live in this echo chamber where they don't realize how dangerous it's getting for all of them. I'm like, you know?
And Chad's question is, with 8 upvotes, hey Sam and Moo, what do you see happening this with Reef this fall?
Well, I actually see a lot of stuff happening with Reef over the next 2 years. Um, I feel like they're gonna have, a partnership happen or somebody join their team, where it is gonna be all over the crypto news. And then that's going to invigorate. And you know how the pile on happens, right? You know how quickly it can go from like a tenth of a penny to
Sure.
like 10 cents. And that would be like 100 times your money. And then there will be another pullback after that. So this time, like, don't get caught like not taking profits because see, here's the thing, right? Most of us have held Reef for over a year. Like a lot of people, they want to be like into set. They want to just sort of last minute ride it up, sell it, and then go buy something else. It's like, well, you don't want to get tagged as a trader because then you got to pay income tax as if you've earned it as income, not in our case like capital gains. Um, so those people who bought Reef way back, even if you bought it at like 1 or 2 cents or you bought some at 4 cents, and then, of course, you killed your dollar cost average with buying it at a penny or half a penny. And when it runs quickly to something like 10 cents, then everything is justified. So I would make sure I have some sell orders already placed for Reef by the time the market starts running, because once they have the announcement, then you'll find like people start to pile on. We watched this in the last market, like word would get out and everyone would try to move over here, and then everyone would try to move over here, and you don't want to be the last one in on one of those FOMOing in.
Yeah, you don't want to be exit liquidity for other people
Yeah, that's
coming
right.
out.
Yeah.
Franken Cryptos has one here. Just give me one sec. USDC is now announcing running on 6 more additional blockchains. Where does this fit into your XLM Stellar picture?
USDC.
Yeah, looks like they're excited about it being announced on 6 more chains. We're up to 15, but wants to know how USDC, or where does these new blockchains, or this new USDC offering on other blockchains, how does it fit into your XLM Stellar picture?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one. That's a good question, though. We'll keep that one. Well, I'll keep my mind open on that one because I was like, oh, I don't know.
And I don't know either. I just, something like this just kind of tells me where we're at in kind of the adoption and the payment systems that we've been talking about. And I'm just excited. The more, the merrier is what I think. So
Yeah.
Solar Dragon's got one here. Hey, Sam and Moo, the Solana ecosystem continues to impress with its speed, tiny fees, user fluidity, and growth. Could you both do a deep dive on this excellent layer 1 and give your thoughts? Thank you. Much love.
So, as I mentioned before about Solana, it seems to be, if somebody asks me which layer one to buy now, um, I Ethereum, which is, it's pretty much a done deal. We'd be moving all that money into Solana, right? Whereas Ethereum is kind of like what Bitcoin was a couple of years ago. So that's how I feel about Solana, is that it's a new up and comer, and then after that is would be one like Avalanche, but that's even like further down the road. But like I said, I think Solana, that above all, if someone said, with the pullback in the market, what would you say would be your biggest advantage that overall looking back, and I'll be able to say, yeah, I added Solana, and that was a big change.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that. Joseph's got one here. Hey, Sam and Moo, when do you see 90% or more of the coins disappearing, and what event will trigger this? Thanks for all you've done for us.
Well, that's going to be something that gradually happens over the next couple of years. But the next run, there's going to be a lot of stuff left out. I don't think anything that we hold, that we talk about and we hold is going to be left out. But there's a lot of people who are holding these coins and tokens, and and you hear about it every once in a while. But we remember that, like back in 2017, 2018, when we were in the market and they weren't. We knew that there were all of these projects that were started by these different scam artists, or I wouldn't even say that all of them were necessarily scam artists. I'd say that they just, they just made an awful lot of promises that the likelihood of them keeping it, was very tiny. The money was easy to get. And once they got a few $1 million in their bank, and I mean, a lot of these people, they had never seen that type of money before. They kind of lost their mind. And some people who deal in big dollars forget that, when people have big sums of money being dumped into their account, and then they stopped working, and, and then it became like a garbage coin or token. So just be careful about that this time. I think that people need to stop forgetting about trying to make up their losses from previous mistakes. Like, just forget about that. That's just part of being, just think about it. We're in the Wild West, and this is just the price you pay, right? All of us in the beginning sent, you probably didn't send stuff directly from an exchange to an ICO like I did, right? You probably always knew to use your wallet, because otherwise it's like having a return address.
Yeah.
Exchange has, so many thousands of people in that,
Well, I've made my fair share of mistakes, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, well, exactly. So maybe the simple newbie mistakes that someone like me, who was just a hobbyist learning crypto back in 2017, I made a lot of mistakes that you wouldn't make as a blockchain person, but you still made mistakes as well. We all did, and we've learned from them. But I just chalk those up as, you know what, that was a mistake. I'll make sure I don't do that again. And one of the other things too that I think a lot of folks who are in our group who were here during the last rise and had made a lot of money, like they took 30,000 and put it into Ethereum and watched it go to 300,000, right? Something like that. But what happens sometimes is that we don't respect that return that we've made,
right?
And we just sort of, it's like when people win the lottery and they go out and they start buying people's stuff and not really paying any attention to the future.
Yeah, there's a psychological trap that people fall into, and this can happen with many things, but money's one of them. But people concentrate on more about what they'll miss out on than what they've gained, instead of enjoying what they've gained, being proud of themselves for getting, they're always worried about if I leave now, what am I going to miss out on? And, people need to break that psychology a little bit and just be happy wherever it takes you. If you've been doing this long enough, that's, you're probably in pretty good shape. It's probably quite a bit of money. So, yeah.
And you've learned a lot from it. We have the next big run coming up soon. And when that happens, this time people will remember to take their profits. And this time they'll remember to not go and buy other cryptos with it. They'll actually go and spend some money on themselves or their family, what they wanted to do with the money in the first place. Because, when there is a pullback or there's some stuff that happens in the world and people end up, losing a lot of money. I always feel bad when it's folks who are not trained in that area where they can hold the line and say, because some people they become fearful where they're like, well, I was up here and it fell to here, but it might fall to here. So I'm going to cash in now, because even though that's, half of what I put in just the other week. And the whole thing is that when people tell you they're going to get into cryptos, they tell you they're willing to sit there for years if they have to. But then they put some money in, and then the week later things go like that. And it's like, what, that can happen.
Yeah,
right? That's happened to me before. I've had stuff go like that,
for sure.
and then it's gone like that, you know. But I mean, I didn't press the button and cash in because again, you know, you give yourself that little speech with crypto before you do it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, I know that this is the way that it could go. And you guys all know how my abilities work, right? Like I see the big picture, and I do get like these blabs that are just come from out of nowhere that will predict the price here and there, but it's really just to keep everybody content in the fact that, you know, hold the line, everything's going to be okay. And once in a while, you got to have a splash bang. Oh, wow, look at that. She was right about that. Yes, we are headed west, and this is the right direction. Once in a while, we got to have that little pep talk, you know.
For sure. Just give me 1 second. It's a brand new name for me. I don't recognize this name. Stick. Hi, Stick. The question is, hello to you both. Could you provide your thoughts about Quant, QNT, please and thank you?
Oh, yeah, people asked me about Quant like a long time ago. I know it's been around for a while because again, it was one that I don't own it, but I felt it was fine. Um, and I know that there's been some recent developments with Quant. I don't really stay on top of it where I don't own it or anything, but I've told people like keep holding the line. I mean, that's just one of the survivors, and you need to hold a survivor. Some of them are going to be 10 times your money. Some of them are going to be 100 or 1,500 times your money. It's just, you know, all of the above is good because if you've spread your money above all of these coins, you got, let's say you got Quant, and Quant's got, you know, at least another 10 times in it because Quant's had a bit of a pullback as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, quite a bit. And one of the reasons I do like Quant is, so if we can just go take a look at Quant real quick. So it's down about 76% or so from its all-time high. Its all-time high was $427, and it's currently sitting at right around $99 or $100. But one of the interesting things around Quant is basically Bank of England entered into a partnership with Quant on their central bank digital currency, and then Bank for International Settlements, or BIS, they talked quite a bit. This is a ERC20, so this Quant runs on the Ethereum network, but it's being used, it's being tested by lots of places that maybe people don't know. So that's really wonderful. I never think of these things as, oh, this will be the only one. There will be lots of them used for these kinds of things, but it's got a nice pedigree. And there's a nice report that just came out in June. I showed this over at the Nerds, but if people wanted to go ahead and take a look and kind of see about these payment systems, central bank digital currencies, wholesale central bank digital currencies, and begin to wrap their minds around, there's different flavors of these central bank digital currencies. Some of them are wholesale. I think people, it could, if you're kind of a nerd, you might be interested in that. But yeah, I don't hold any Quant. It had a really nice run, last fall, going into winter, or the end of summer going into fall. No, end of summer going into fall last year. And it was just kind of, I just made quite a bit of sense to me because we were having the same runs in some of the other payment system tokens. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts about it. Pretty expansive project. So
thumbs up for Quant, and it looks
yeah,
like it has a big upside. And one of the only ones that I think it has a bigger upside is Solana, because I think Solana is in 20 something dollars, and I seeing it go back to its all time high in the 400s would be a better multiple, because we're all about math here.
yeah, and I kind of feel, you guys know I'm in strength, so I get access to all these cool things by just being in Ethereum. So this is an ERC20 token, so I don't feel the need to go out too far on the risk curve with some of these things. So I just thought I should say that. Hey, Sam and Moo, do you see AMP token doing well in the next 12 months? Thank you both for what you do.
So AMP was one early on that I liked, and it's been used for payments. I believe that it has been used for payments. Again, it's not one that has a large trading volume, but it does have 66,000 on its watch list. It's number 220 on the list. So, I think that eventually it's one that people will be buying, and will increase its price. But as far as the number of coins and tokens that have been beat up and what their turnaround is, I think that there's a couple more that will have some better results in the next run.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate that. And Petra's question is, excuse me, with all these new countries joining the BRICS nations and the GDP up 36%, plus world population close to 50%, it is quite clear that if they will adopt XRP Ripple, how will the United States handle this? So because they added proposed to add 6 new nations, so they're adding Saudi Arabia and I think UAE and Iran, and anyway, I think that starts at the beginning of next year, so in January, I think. But anyway, what she's saying in this question is that with the additional countries being added here, that the GDP would be 36% of the world's GDP and close to 50% of the world's population. And she's kind of curious how that will, I guess she says, it is quite clear that if they will adopt XRP Ripple, how will the United States handle this?
Oh, for the BRICS nation, if they're going to use XRP Ripple?
That's what she's asking, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that when it comes down to the United States, that the U.S. dollar is still going to be the global reserve. So even if they have their own currency, it'll be based on what the exchange rate of the US dollar is, right? Just like now. And just like CBDCs are not a big deal. All it is just coins and dollars going into the digits on a page, which is pretty much what 95% of it is right now. The only reason they're making a big deal out of it is they're saying that they're going to get rid of cash 100% and track everybody's everything, right? And
Mm-hmm.
some countries, they'll do that. The country that I'm in right now, won't be doing that anytime soon because cash efectivo is the way that they do business down here. A lot of
Sure.
ways, somebody comes and cleans your house, you pay them right there. People
Right.
came to fix my air conditioners, and I left before they finished because they didn't come when they say they were going to come, right? And I still have my appointments. I still have to take my son to football and stuff. I'm like, okay, see you
Mm-hmm.
later, right? Well, apparently they were looking for their paycheck like right after they were finished, because they
Right.
want cash, right? They want
Sure.
cash money right now. You give them that money, they literally go and buy their supper on the way home,
Sure. Yeah.
right? So I think people have a lot of concerns that there's really no need to be concerned about. And I think that America, for example, being downgraded from AAA to AA, that was a nice little kick in the pants that was needed by the politicians. It was embarrassing for them to have their country downgraded, uh, and as they should be. But people need to just really understand that America runs the show for the world. It will continue to run the show. When stuff goes sideways in Europe or any of the disasters that I see coming, which are all very survivable, people just pull together. We're all going to be okay. If stuff is coming, you can't avoid it. The best thing is to live in a society where people can help one another. That's what I see about what's going on. Don't worry about like them trying to take XRP out or anything. The Securities and Exchange Commission is on the run. They've made fools of themselves. And like I said, I felt like Gary Gensler would have a departure. Not necessarily, I mean, if he resigns, it's like really a forced resignation because the walls are closing in on him. And Barbara, I keep bringing up Barbara. Let's find out what's going on with Sam Bankman-Fried's mom, Barbara. I was like telling her, oh, Barbara, you better get out of town. They're going to find out. People are going to know. What did you do? Yeah. It's, again, one of those lame brain academics who, thought that she was they just think they're all so well connected. And when everything starts rolling down, I mean, it's a shame what happened in San Francisco. But again, look at what happened in Hawaii. Look at what's happening in San Francisco. That's what happens when you allow these nutcases to run things. So, America is not going to allow the nutcases over in Europe and all of those, to run things. They're just not going to. So I think that that's totally separate. The XRP and
Me too.
and the United States trying to rail against things and stuff. It's like, man, like they have really big fish to fry right now. I mean, starting in a couple of months, the 2024 election season is going to start, and this is going to be a barn burner, folks. You think 2020 or 2016 was crazy? Just wait. But it's going to be in a good way where the pendulum has swung back the other way. So we're going to have cryptos coming in. We're going to have election craziness happening. It's going to be like quite the entertaining year, actually.
Thanks, Sam.